30 years ago, at the behest of the FBI, corporate media made defending Randy Weaver indefensible. Weaver, a married father of four, moved to a remote mountain in Idaho because he believed our government surrendered to a globalist agenda that would strip American citizens of long-standing, constitutionally guaranteed rights, including freedom of thought, speech, and religion. A former Green Beret, the FBI attempted to induce Weaver to spy on an Aryan Nation sect 70 miles from Weaver's cabin in Idaho. Weaver refused. The FBI sent an undercover agent to further recruit Weaver. The agent coerced Weaver into sawing off a shotgun and selling it to him, a federal crime. The federal government then charged Weaver with that crime. Weaver skipped court, choosing to isolate himself, his wife, and four kids on their $5,000 plot of land. Eventually, the FBI raided Weaver's land, killing his dog, his 14-year-old son, and his wife, and setting off an 11-day standoff at Ruby Ridge. An FBI agent was also killed at Ruby Ridge. To avoid responsibility for the massacre, the FBI and corporate media framed Weaver as a member of the Aryan Nation and a white supremacist. The smear campaign worked in the court of public opinion. People like Bill Maher played along with the narrative, helping to frame Weaver as a baby Adolf Hitler. The criminal justice system did not cooperate. In July 1993, a jury acquitted Weaver of all serious charges related to Ruby Ridge. In 1995, a judge awarded the Weaver family $3.1 million for the wrongful deaths of Weaver's wife and son. I bring this up because Tucker Carlson is going through his own version of Ruby Ridge. Years ago, Carlson thought he wanted to follow in his dad's footsteps and join the CIA. The agency allegedly rejected Dick Carlson's son. In recent years, Carlson has been the most outspoken and powerful critic of the CIA, FBI, and the Department of Defense. Months ago, he penned and voiced a damning monologue on Fox News, arguing that the CIA killed President John Kennedy. Carlson routinely mocked the FBI, CIA, and the DOD for embracing a woke agenda. Tucker is a nagging, dangerous thorn in the side of the surveillance agencies and globalists. He's one part Randy Weaver, one part Kanye West, one part Kyrie Irving, mixed with a dash of Alex Jones. Tucker Carlson challenges authority. He asks troubling and important questions. Should we be sending billions of dollars to Ukraine? What are the ramifications for allowing millions of illegal immigrants to cross our southern border? Why is the January 6th instigator Ray Epps free from punishment when others are not? 2 weeks ago, Fox News fired Carlson, the highest rated and most influential cable news host. Now, the New York Times and the rest of corporate media are desperately trying to make Carlson indefensible. Tuesday night, the New York Times fired what it hopes is a kill shot to Carlson's reputation. The Times, the voice of the alphabet agencies, published a personal text from Carlson to a producer that Times editors believe paint Carlson as a bigot. Under the headline, Carlson's text that alarmed Fox leaders, "It's not how white men fight." A triple byline story begins this way. A text message sent by Tucker Carlson that set off panic at the highest levels of Fox on the eve of its billion-dollar defamation trial showed its most popular host sharing his private, inflammatory views about violence and race. Here's what the text said in totality. Bear with me. A couple of weeks ago, I was watching a video of people fighting on the street in Washington. A group of Trump guys surrounded an Antifa kid and started pounding the living shit out of him. It was 3 against 1, at least. Jumping a guy like that is dishonorable, obviously. It's not how white men fight. Yet suddenly, I found myself rooting for the mob against the man, hoping they'd hit him harder, kill him. I really wanted them to hurt the kid. I could taste it. Then somewhere deep in my brain, an alarm went off. This isn't good for me. I'm becoming something I don't want to be. The Antifa creep is a human being. Much as I despise what he says and does, much as I'm sure I'd hate him personally if I knew him, I shouldn't gloat over his suffering. I should be bothered by it. I should remember that somewhere, somebody probably loves this kid and would be crushed if he was killed. If I don't care about those things, if I reduce people to their politics, how am I better than he is? That's what he wrote in his text. How long are we going to allow our government to assassinate the reputation of any person who challenges government corruption and overreach? How long do we allow our government to play the race card against its opponents? I never met Randy Weaver. It's unlikely we would have been best friends. At the very least, he sympathized with members of the Aryan nation. He has every right to have those sympathies. It's America. He's free to think what he wants. I have sympathy for Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. I've never believed white people are the devil, and I've long been friends with Jews. I dated one for a little more than a year. People are complex, and so are their thoughts. I do know Tucker Carlson. I respect him. I believe he's a force for truth in the American media. The allegedly racist text message strikes me as authentic and vulnerable, not mean-spirited or bigoted. I get what he's trying to convey, or what he was trying to convey. The text is written on January 7th, 2021, one day after Trump supporters overran the Capitol. The previous 7 years, corporate media had showcased Black Lives Matter riots, protests, and looting. The nation had grown used to seeing predominantly black crowds overrun buildings and loot them. Black people, corporate media, and leftists delighted in the all-white riot at the Capitol on J6. The statement, "It's not how white men fight," is connected to the so-called insurrection. It's an admission by Carlson that leftists are winning and they're getting everyone to fight on their terms. Text communication with a friend is imprecise and politically incorrect. I've texted far worse things in the last year, or maybe even in the last month. The government is now weaponizing our private communication to silence us. We can't think what we want. We can't say whatever we want to our friends. The government is reading all of us our Miranda rights. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of public opinion. None of us can survive that standard. The standard is un-American. Here's my advice to everyone. Accept that we're in a spiritual war of good versus evil, a war between believers and non-believers. Speak in those terms. Christians, believers in Yah, servants of the Most High God, image bearers of Jesus Christ, do not fight the same way as secular elites, globalists, and the misguided fools who seek their approval. They're corrupt. They lie. They work to overturn all that is good in this world. It's not how Christian men fight.